Minds is for retirement and aging. Steve was 68. The older you get, the more serious you need to be about brain health, as your skin falls off your face as you age. The same process happens in the brain. Steve's brain looked much older than he was. I is for inflammation, a major cause of memory problems. Steve's inflammation markers were high, plus he didn't floss and had gum disease, a common cause of inflammation. The G in Bright Minds is for genetics. Memory problems clearly ran in Steve's family, but I often tell my patients that genes are not a death sentence. They should be a wake-up call and show you what to work on preventing. H is for head trauma, a major cause of dementia that few people know about. Steve played football in high school and had a number of concussions. T is for toxins. Steve was drinking every day. Based on media coverage, he thought alcohol was a health food. It's not. Alcohol is directly toxic to brain function. Plus, Steve had 2 knee surgeries. Many people don't know that general anesthesia can cause cognitive decline and damage to the brain. The M in Bright Minds is for mental health issues. Steve was under chronic stress from taking care of his father. Chronic stress can raise a hormone called cortisol, which can damage the hippocampus, one of the brain's major memory centers. I is for immunity and infections. Steve had a low vitamin D level and noticed his memory problems were much worse after he got COVID. N is for neurohormone issues. Steve had low testosterone, which is critical for memory, mood, and libido. D is for diabetes. He was overweight and had high blood sugar levels, both of which increase the risk of memory problems. Some researchers are calling Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes. And S is for sleep. Steve snored, stopped breathing at night, and was chronically tired during the day. The low activity in his parietal lobes is common in people with sleep apnea. He likely had untreated sleep apnea, which triples the risk for Alzheimer's disease. Knowing his Bright Minds risk factors, we developed a plan to attack each one of them. Seeing his scan, Steve became much more serious about taking care of his brain, doing the strategies I'll share. And in just a matter of months, his memory was better, he felt sharper, and he was hopeful he might be able to break the family curse of dementia. A year later, his brain showed remarkable improvement. Our experience at Amen Clinics over the last 4 decades has convinced me that the traditional approach to memory problems is ineffective, misguided, and leads to immense unnecessary suffering. Many people can make their brains better and reverse memory loss, but you have to work a plan and you have to do it every day. One of the first things to do in memory makeover is to assess your brain. Did you know that the brain is the only organ that is virtually never screened for problems? But it is every bit as important as your heart, your breath, or your colon. When I turned 50, my doctor wanted me to have a colonoscopy. I asked him why he didn't want to look at my brain. Wasn't the other end of my body just as important? In the program materials, we have sophisticated new ways to assess your brain. When it comes to memory, our brain imaging work on tens of thousands of patients taught me that treatment needs to be tailored to your brain, not a cluster of symptoms. For example, using our Bright Minds acronym, the scans show us that decreased blood flow from strokes or clogged blood vessels can cause dementia. Here is someone who had 2 strokes. This is why you shouldn't smoke or vape risk factor. The scans showed premature aging. At 37, my brain was much older than I was. I had started dropping words and being forgetful. Scans also show increased inflammation. In this SPECT scan, blue is average activity and red is the top 15%. In a healthy scan, the cerebellum and the back bottom part of the brain is the most active. See a healthy scan versus one with inflammation, which is common in people with autoimmune disorders. The scans also show evidence of past head trauma, a major cause of memory loss that few doctors ever think about. I published the first and largest brain imaging study on professional football players that showed high levels of damage. That was not a surprise. But 80% of our players improved when we put them on a brain-healthy rehabilitation program, just like the one I'm giving you today. Scans show toxicity from drugs, alcohol, prescription medications like opiates and benzos, and environmental toxins such as mold or mercury exposure. M is for mental health. I first fell in love with scans when I evaluated Matilda, 69, who had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. She had severe memory problems and nearly burned down her home by forgetting something on the stove. But her SPECT scan showed she didn't have Alzheimer's disease at all, but rather something called pseudo-dementia caused by untreated depression. Her surface scan looked healthy, but her emotional brain was working way too hard. When I treated her depression, her memory came back. The second I in Bright Minds is for immunity and infections. I've seen many scans impacted by COVID, Lyme, and other infections. Dozens of scientists wrote in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease that infectious disease is a major treatable cause of dementia that very few physicians ever test for or treat. Neurohormone issues also cause memory problems. Here is someone with low thyroid. Clearly, this had a negative impact on her brain. I published 3 studies on over 30,000 brain scans that showed that being overweight or obese decreases blood flow to the brain and increases the risk of dementia. High blood sugar does the same thing. And sleep problems cause low activity in the parietal lobes, one of the first areas that die in Alzheimer's disease. When should you be concerned about your memory? Let's do a quiz together. In the program materials, there are more extensive tools. For now, answer these 11 questions. Count which ones you have on your fingers, or even toes if needed. 1. Do you tend to be forgetful? 2. Do you tend to misplace your keys or wallet? 3. Do you sometimes wonder why you came into a room? 4. Do you have trouble remembering names? 5. Do you read something but don't remember much of it an hour later? 6. Do you often struggle with brain fog? 7. Do you have trouble remembering to take your medications or supplements? 8. Are you relying more on memory aids like your phone? 9. Do you struggle to find the right words? 10. Do you sometimes forget what you're going to say in the middle of saying it? And 11. Is your memory worse than it was 10 years ago? If you answered yes to any of these questions, it's time to take brain health seriously. Research suggests if your memory is worse than it was 10 years ago, there is an 80% chance it will continue to get worse. One of the little lies people tell themselves is that memory problems are normal. I've heard 40-year-olds say, I have memory problems, that's normal, right? No, it's not normal. Or I'm 60, 70, even 90, and have memory problems, that's normal, right? No, it's common but it's also a sign your brain is deteriorating, and that's not what you want. But the good news is that, like Steve, you are not stuck with the brain you have. You can make it better, but you have to work to change your brain every day. Stay with me, and I'll show you how to improve your memory with 7 foods and 7 supplements that research tells us you can use every day to enhance your memory. For example, certain types of chocolate have been shown to increase stem cell production in as little as 2 weeks. I will also give you the brain healthy hot chocolate recipe I make for my family nearly every night. Stay with me.
Hello, I'm Lee Newton, and I'm happy to be here with Dr. Daniel Amen, the host of this exciting new program. Thank you, Dr. Amen.
Hi, Lee. I'm so excited to be back, and this show is so important to me because everybody's concerned about their memory, young and old.
Absolutely, and so much great information. Memory and brain health is something that concerns us all. There's much more to come when we return to Memory Makeover. But before we go any further, I'd like to invite you to help support this public television station by calling the phone number or visiting the website on your screen. If this first part of this program makes you feel motivated to have a healthier brain and a better memory, we have some wonderfully powerful thank you gifts. Make the choice now to contribute $6 a month or a one-time gift of $72, and you'll receive